Welcome to the Sleep Hours, the only place where cartoons fall asleep before you do. So grab your blanket, tuck in your favorite plushie, and let's get weird. Tonight we're joining Grizz, Panda, and Ice Bear from We Bare Bears on their very own hidden adventure, a magical forest campout that only the quietest ears can hear. Will you stay awake long enough to hear all of Grizz's funny stories, Panda's sleepy murmurs, and Ice Bear's gentle guardianship? Or will the calm, magical forest carry you straight into the sweetest dreams you've ever had? Let's find out by joining the bears on this unforgettable hidden campout. The day had been long, filled with the usual bustle of city sounds, screens glowing too brightly, and Grizz bouncing around with one idea after another. But as the evening sun slipped behind the hills, a quieter thought came to him, a thought so gentle and inviting, even he spoke it in a hushed tone. "Hey, bros," Grizz whispered dramatically, leaning close to Panda and Ice Bear. "What if we camp out tonight?" Panda blinked from his phone, ears twitching nervously. "Camp out? Like in the woods? At night? You mean with bugs and shadows and possibly, bears that are scarier than us?" He wrapped his blanket tighter around himself at the thought. Ice Bear, sitting on a low stool in the cave, stirred his tea. He didn't look up as he said simply, "Ice Bear approves." Grizz grinned, clapping his paws together. "See? Ice Bear's on board. And Panda. Come on, it'll be fun. No distractions, no city noise. Just us, the trees, and the stars. Old-fashioned brother bonding." Panda frowned, trying to stay skeptical, but the way Grizz's eyes gleamed with excitement made it hard to resist. "Well, only if we bring snacks, lots of snacks, and a lantern. And my blanket, and done," Grizz interrupted before Panda could pile on more conditions. "Pack it up, bros. We're going on a hidden camp out." They scrambled around the cave in their own ways. Grizz stuffed a backpack with chips, cookies, and marshmallows, his idea of essential camping supplies. Panda carefully rolled his blanket, tucked in his headphones just in case, and tried to remember if there was bug spray somewhere. Ice Bear, of course, was the most prepared of all. Within minutes, he appeared by the door with a perfectly rolled sleeping bag, a tiny cooking pan, and a thermos of warm tea. As the last golden threads of daylight faded, the three bears set out together, stepping quietly into the forest path just beyond their cave. The world felt different once they left behind the glow of their little home. The air was cooler, tinged with pine and damp earth, and the forest was alive with soft sounds, crickets chirping, leaves whispering with the breeze, and the distant hoot of an owl. Panda clutched his blanket like a shield. "It's really dark already." His voice dropped to a whisper, as though the trees themselves might overhear. Grizz nudged him with a reassuring paw. "That's the point! It's adventure time, Panda. Look, stars are already peeking out. You can't get that kind of view back in the cave." Panda reluctantly looked up, and sure enough, tiny pinpricks of light shimmered against the deepening sky. A ribbon of stars stretched overhead, quiet and endless. For a moment, Panda forgot to be nervous. Ice Bear, walking steadily at the front, lit the small lantern he'd brought. Its golden glow spilled gently across the path, flickering against trunks and branches. The light wasn't much, but it was enough to make the forest feel less mysterious, more welcoming. They followed a narrow trail deeper into the woods, their footsteps crunching softly on leaves. Grizz hummed to himself, a little off-key tune that matched the rhythm of the steps. Panda kept glancing left and right, jumping whenever he thought he saw something move, while Ice Bear remained as calm as ever, leading the way with steady, quiet confidence. Eventually, they reached a small clearing tucked between tall pines. The grass was soft. The air smelled faintly of wildflowers, and a wide patch of open sky revealed a blanket of stars overhead. It was hidden, almost secret, as though the forest had been saving the spot just for them. Grizz dropped his bag dramatically in the middle of the clearing. "This is it! The perfect hidden campout spot! What do you think, bros?" Panda slowly relaxed, gazing up at the wide sky. It's kind of nice, he admitted, though he held his blanket tight just in case. Ice Bear placed the lantern down, its glow flickering warmly over the grass. Ice Bear approves. Grizz threw his arms around both of his brothers, pulling them into a quick bear hug. "See? Told you this was going to be great. Just wait till we get the fire going. S'mores, stories, stars. It's going to be the best secret camp out ever." And with that, the bears began to set up their little campsite, the forest gently wrapping around them like a lullaby. Grizz knelt down in the middle of the clearing and immediately started fumbling with sticks, arranging them into what he proudly called the ultimate campfire starter kit. The sticks were haphazard at best, some far too big, others way too damp. But Grizz waved off any doubts. "Don't worry, bruz. I've watched like 1,000,000 camping shows online. This fire's gonna roar." Panda stood behind him with his blanket draped like a cape, clutching a bag of marshmallows. "It better not roar too much. I don't want us to burn down the forest." He glanced nervously at the towering trees all around. "Do you think there are forest rangers out here? What if they catch us?" Ice Bear calmly unrolled his sleeping bag and placed it neatly on the grass, as though the question needed no answer. "Ice Bear has permit." Both Grizz and Panda froze. "You... what?" Grizz asked, blinking. Ice Bear held up a small slip of paper from his pack. "Ice Bear prepared." Grizz laughed, clapping him on the back. "Of course you did. That's my brother." Panda sighed in relief, muttering something about not wanting to be on the news for illegal camping. After a few failed attempts at sparking the fire, which mostly resulted in Grizz blowing too hard and sending sticks scattering, Ice Bear quietly stepped forward. He knelt by the messy pile, rearranged it into a perfect little teepee, and with a single practiced strike of a lighter, a tiny flame flickered to life. The glow spread quickly, catching the twigs and then the thicker sticks, until a small but steady fire crackled in the clearing. The light bathed their faces in orange, and suddenly the dark forest felt less intimidating, as though it too was sitting down with them to share the warmth. Grizz raised his paws in triumph. "Yes, fire achieved. Team effort, bros, that's what I'm talking about." Panda finally relaxed enough to sit cross-legged beside the fire, pulling his blanket around his shoulders like a cocoon. He set the bag of marshmallows down reverently. "Okay, now it officially feels like camping." Grizz wasted no time in skewering a marshmallow on a stick. He held it proudly over the fire, his eyes gleaming with the glow of both the flames and his imagination. "This is it, guys. This is what they mean when they say roughing it." Panda tilted his head. "I was roasting marshmallows roughing it. We literally brought snacks, pillows, and a lantern." Grizz puffed out his chest. "It's the spirit of roughing it that counts." Ice Bear already had his marshmallow perfectly golden brown, rotating it slowly and evenly over the flames. Without a word, he handed it to Panda, who blinked in surprise. "Oh, for me?" "Ice Bear shares," he said simply. Panda took the marshmallow, biting into it with a smile. "Thanks, Ice Bear. You always know how to make things less scary." The three of them settled in around the fire, roasting marshmallows, crunching cookies, and nibbling chips. The fire crackled, sparks rising like tiny stars to join the ones above. Grizz leaned back on his paws, gazing up at the sky. "Man, look at that. You can see everything from here." The stars stretched endlessly overhead, twinkling in rivers of light. The moon sat low and round, casting a silver glow over the clearing. For once, Grizz's normally booming voice voice softened, as though he didn't want to disturb the peaceful night. Panda followed his gaze, his earlier worries melting into awe. It's really beautiful. Like the sky's putting on a show just for us. Ice Bear adjusted the fire with a careful poke. Sky always shows. Few watch. The words hung in the air, gentle and wise, like something larger than the moment. Grizz smiled faintly, nodding. Leave it to Ice Bear to drop the deep stuff. Panda hugged his blanket tighter, but this time it wasn't out of fear. It was comfort. I guess I'm glad we came out here, even if the woods are kind of creepy. And even if I still think I heard something moving back there. Grizz waved dismissively. Relax, Panda. That was probably just a squirrel or a raccoon. Nothing scary's gonna mess with this squad. As if on cue, a distant howl echoed faintly through the trees. Panda froze, eyes wide. That wasn't a squirrel. Grizz's grin faltered for a moment, then he quickly puffed up. Probably a friendly wolf. They, totally exist. Ice Bear calmly sipped from his thermos, not even glancing up. Coyote, far away. The matter-of-fact tone instantly calmed Panda again. If Ice Bear wasn't worried, then maybe he didn't need to be either. The three brothers fell into a comfortable silence. The only sounds the fire's crackle, the breeze shifting the branches, and the rhythmic background of the forest at night. It was a hidden campout indeed, secret, peaceful, and just a little magical. Grizz leaned closer to the fire, poking it with a stick he had declared the official campfire stick. He waved it around like a wand, sending sparks spiraling upward into the nights. You guys ever think about how cool it is that we're like actual bears? Camping in the woods? I mean, we were born for this. Panda rolled his eyes, but there was a smile tugging at his lips. If we were born for this, then why do you scream every time you see a spider? Grizz flinched. Hey, spiders don't count. They're nature's ninjas. Totally different. Ice Bear calmly skewered another marshmallow, rotating it with practiced precision. Ice Bear respects spiders. Panda chuckled, pulling his blanket tighter. Of course you do. The brothers munched on their snacks for a while, the fire's glow painting their faces in warm tones. Every so often, a breeze would sweep through the clearing, carrying the fresh scent of pine and making the flames flicker. The night was alive, but not in a scary way anymore. It felt like the forest was breathing along with them, a gentle rhythm of rustling leaves and chirping crickets. Grizz flopped onto his back, paused behind his head, staring up at the stars. Man, look at that. The Big Dipper, the Little Dipper, the Extra Medium Dipper. He traced random shapes in the sky with his finger. Panda tilted his head, squinting. That's, not a constellation, Grizz. That's just a bunch of stars you connected in your head. Exactly, Grizz replied proudly. That's how new constellations are born. Someday future campers will look up and say, ah yes, the Extra Medium Dipper, a totally legit star thing discovered by Grizz Bear. Panda groaned, though his laugh gave him away. You're ridiculous. Ice Bear sees penguin, Ice Bear said softly, pointing upward. Both Grizz and Panda sat up, following his paw. After a moment, Panda blinked. Huh. Yeah, that does look like a penguin. Grizz squinted. Whoa, you're right. That's amazing. Ice Bear, you're like the master of constellations. You should name that one. Ice Bear names it. Gerald. The brothers burst into laughter, the sound echoing lightly through the clearing. Panda wiped a tear from his eye. Gerald the Penguin constellation. That's perfect. The laughter faded into a quieter kind of happiness, the sort that lingered like embers in the fire. Panda leaned back against his blanket pile, smiling softly. You know, this isn't so bad. Kind of cozy, actually. Told you, Grizz said, tossing another stick onto the fire. Hidden Campout success! The fire crackled, sparks swirling upward, joining the stars above. Panda pulled out his phone for a moment, but after glancing at the glowing screen, he set it aside with a small sigh. The night was too peaceful to ruin with notifications. Instead, he let his eyes wander to the trees around them, their tall silhouettes swaying gently in the breeze. "Do you think anyone else has ever found this spot?" Panda asked softly, almost as if the forest might answer. Grizz sat up, puffing his chest. "No way. This is our spot now. The secret grizzly panda ice bear hideout. No humans, no blizzards, no bad vibes, just us and the stars." Ice Bear nodded slowly. Ice Bear approves. They sat together in companionable silence, listening to the forest chorus. Somewhere far off, a creek babbled faintly, and the wind carried the scent of damp moss and wildflowers. The world felt distant, as though the three of them were tucked into a hidden pocket of time, safe from everything else. Grizz yawned, stretching his arms wide. "Oh, this is the life, bruh. No alarms, no responsibilities, no city noise, just chill vibes and marshmallows." Panda lay down fully now, blanket pulled up to his chin. His ears twitched at the soft chirp of crickets. But instead of nervousness, the sound felt like a lullaby. "I guess I could get used to this." Ice Bear shifted closer to the fire, sipping quietly from his thermos. His eyes reflected the flames, calm and steady, like he was making sure everything stayed safe. "Ice Bear will keep watch." Grizz gave him a thumbs up, already half dozing. "Knew we could count on you, bro." The fire crackled softly, the stars glittered above, and the three brothers rested in their hidden campout, the night wrapping them in its quiet embrace. The fire had burned down to glowing coals, their orange light pulsing like a heartbeat in the center of the clearing. Panda stretched beneath his blanket, rolling onto his side with a small sigh. "You know what I like about this," he murmured, voice softer now, almost dreamy. "There's no buzzing cars, no honking horns, no glowing billboards, just quiet." Grizz, who was fiddling with the official campfire stick again, grinned. "Exactly. Nature is the original chill zone. Way better than city noise. Though," Panda added with a yawn, "I do kind of miss my streaming shows." Grizz groaned dramatically. "Dude, you gotta unplug. You got, like, the biggest streaming show right above us. The stars." Ice Bear, sitting cross-legged with perfect posture, sipped from his thermos and nodded. "Ice Bear approves of stars. High definition, zero buffering." Panda laughed sleepily, his eyes fluttering shut for a moment. "Fine, fine. Nature gets 5 stars." The brothers sat quietly again, the night wrapping around them like a blanket. Every once in a while, the forest shifted. An owl hooted from a distant branch. A twig snapped somewhere deeper in the woods, but nothing alarming. Just little reminders that the world was alive around them. Grizz suddenly sat up, his ears perking. "Oh, story time! Every campout needs story time." Panda peeked at him through one eye. "Please don't make it scary. I'll never sleep." "Relax, bro," Grizz said, waving him off. "No scary stuff tonight. This'll be a legendary Grizz original tale." He cleared his throat, puffing out his chest. "Once upon a time, 3 heroic brothers ventured deep into the enchanted woods on a secret mission to find the world's fluffiest marshmallow." Panda groaned, pulling the blanket over his head. "You're impossible." But Grizz was already rolling. They battled many challenges. The terrible wind that kept blowing out their fire, the vicious mosquitoes that tried to drink their sweet bear blood, and of course, the eternal debate of who gets the last marshmallow. Ice Bear slowly raised a paw. "Ice Bear claims marshmallow victory." Panda peeked from beneath the blanket, smiling despite himself. "Okay. That's actually kind of cute." Grizz leaned in, lowering his voice like a campfire storyteller. But at last, the brothers triumphed. And there, under the sparkling stars, they roasted the fluffiest marshmallow in history. And when they took a bite, he paused dramatically, holding up his stick with a half-eaten marshmallow still on it. They knew they had found treasure greater than gold. He popped the marshmallow into his mouth with a grin. The end, Panda clapped sarcastically. Bravo. Truly a tale for the ages. Ice Bear gives it 3 stars out of 5, Grizz gasped. What? Ice Bear, you wound me. The teasing faded into laughter, which drifted off into the trees like smoke. Then came a peaceful quiet again, the kind that didn't feel empty at all, but full of safety, warmth, and belonging. The moon had risen higher now, casting silver light over the clearing. It painted the tops of the trees in a faint glow and made the surface of the fire's embers shimmer. Panda shifted onto his back again, his eyes tracing the sky. You know, maybe we don't need to tell anyone about this place. Maybe it can just stay ours. Grizz nodded, unusually serious. Yeah, our hidden campout, our secret base. Ice Bear placed another log on the fire with a careful precision, the flames licking up again. Ice Bear agrees. Sacred spot. The 3 brothers sat together in silence for a while longer. The crackling fire their soundtrack, the stars their ceiling. Panda's breathing grew slower, Grizz hummed softly, and Ice Bear remained watchful, steady as always. For just a moment, the world outside didn't exist. No noisy city, no bustling humans, no responsibilities. Just 3 brothers, a fire, and the infinite sky above. The fire had settled into a steady golden glow, the kind that looked like it could burn forever if someone just whispered to it gently. Panda lay curled up under his blanket, his eyes half closed, but still watching the stars peeking through the tree branches. He wasn't scared anymore. Not with Grizz humming off-key, and Ice Bear sitting like a silent guardian beside them. Grizz, leaning back on his paws, stretched and let out a loud yawn. You know, I think we did it. Best hidden campout ever. Maybe even top 10 Grizz adventures. Top 10? Panda mumbled sleepily. You've only been camping like twice. Details, Grizz said with a grin, brushing it off. This one still counts. Ice Bear poked at the fire with a stick, making the embers dance upward like tiny fireflies. Ice Bear ranks at number 1. Grizz gasped dramatically. Number 1? From Ice Bear? That's like an Olympic gold medal, or a 5-star review from a food critic. Panda chuckled softly, his voice thick with sleep. Guess that makes this night pretty special, then. The breeze shifted, tugging at the corners of Panda's blanket and making Grizz's fur ruffle. The air smelled faintly of salt now, like the sea was somewhere not too far off, even though the forest surrounded them. Panda pulled the blanket tighter and let the sound of the rustling trees lull him further. Grizz plopped down next to him, lying flat on his back, paws stretched out like a starfish. You know, bros, when we're old and like gray and wrinkly, we're gonna remember this night. We'll be like, hey, remember when we roasted the perfect marshmallow and named a constellation Gerald the Penguin? Panda smirked, his eyes fluttering shut. If you ever call me wrinkly, I'll haunt you. Ice Bear, still calm, added, Ice Bear will age gracefully. That earned another round of sleepy laughter from Panda and a thumbs up from Grizz. For a few minutes, no one spoke. The forest carried its own kind of conversation. The crickets chirped steadily, the wind hummed through the leaves, and the faint crackle of the fire gave everything a cozy rhythm. It was like the whole world was breathing slowly, in sync with them. Grizz's voice broke the silence again, softer now. You know, we don't always need a big adventure. Sometimes just being here with you guys is enough. Panda's blanket rustled as he shifted closer. Yeah, it is. Ice Bear's gaze lingered on the stars. Ice Bear thinks, this is home too. Oh, the words hung in the air for a moment, gentle and true, before Panda's breathing evened out completely. His chest rose and fell steadily, and soon a quiet snore slipped from him, muffled by his blanket. Grizz looked over at him and smiled, whispering, out like a light. He rolled onto his side, propping his head up with one paw. Guess I should probably get some shut-eye, too. He yawned, eyes closing. But just for the record, this was all my idea. Camp-out genius. Best brother ever. Legendary. His words faded into a mumble as sleep claimed him, leaving only the glow of the fire and the soft sound of his snoring joining Panda's. Ice Bear was the last to move. He glanced at his brothers, both curled up in their blankets, their faces peaceful in the firelight. Slowly, carefully, he placed another log on the fire to keep it burning. Then he sat back, silent as a stone, his eyes calm and protective. The stars above shimmered, the forest whispered, and Ice Bear whispered to himself in the quiet. Ice Bear will keep watch. With that, he settled against his pack, his eyes still half open, the steady heartbeat of the forest keeping them all safe. And so the first night of the Hidden Campout began. Not with wild adventures, not with chaos, but with warmth, laughter, and the quiet promise of brotherhood under the stars. The clearing, glowing faintly from the fire, seemed to cradle the three bears in its arms, holding their secret safe. And if anyone had happened to stumble through the woods that night, they might have seen three brothers sleeping peacefully by the fire, under the vast and endless sky, and felt, just for a moment, that the world could be that simple too. The night had deepened, and the forest wrapped itself around the three bears like a quiet, gentle hug. The embers of the campfire had burned low during the first stretch of their hidden campout, glowing faintly like sleepy stars scattered on the ground. But as the night carried on, Grizz stirred, rubbing his eyes and fumbling for another log. Can't let the fire die on us, he mumbled, tossing the log into the pit. Sparks popped and hissed, then flared into new life, casting golden light that chased the shadows back. There we go. Campfire 2.0. The fresh flames licked upward, warming the clearing again. Panda, who had been dozing under his blanket, peeked out with a sleepy groan. Ah, Grizz, I was just about to dream about chocolate fountains. Grizz chuckled, poking the fire with his stick like he was conducting an orchestra. Well, dream with your eyes open, bro. We've got front row seats to the coziest show on Earth. Ice Bear added a perfectly toasted marshmallow onto the growing plate of snacks, placing it neatly beside a stack of graham crackers. Ice Bear presents Midnight Menu. Panda sat up, rubbing his eyes, but the smell of sugar and roasted marshmallows worked faster than any alarm clock. His ears perked. Wait, you made s'mores without me? Grizz puffed up proudly. Correction. We made s'mores for you. Ice Bear's the chef. I'm the official quality inspector. He held up his paw dramatically. A heavy burden. But someone's got to eat the rejects. Rejects? Panda muttered, reaching for a gooey marshmallow sandwich. They look perfect. Ice Bear simply nodded, poking another marshmallow into the fire. Ice Bear has standards. The three of them sat closer to the fire now, its warmth soaking into their fur as they nibbled on sticky, sweet snacks. Every time a marshmallow caught flame, Grizz would wave it around like a torch. Panda would squeal about the sugar burning, and Ice Bear would calmly blow it out with one controlled breath. Panda licked chocolate from his paw and leaned back, sighing. Okay, I admit it. This camp-out thing is growing on me. Grizz grinned, chocolate smeared on his chin. Told you. Nothing beats s'mores under the stars. Well, except maybe pizza under the stars, or tacos under the stars. Ice Bear votes pancakes. Panda laughed softly, pulling his blanket tighter around his shoulders. Fine. We'll make a whole food list next time. The campfire flickered and danced, shadows of the brothers stretching across the ground like sleepy giants. The flames snapped and crackled as if they were part of the conversation, filling the quiet gaps with warmth. Grizz leaned back on his paws again, staring into the fire. You know, I think this is the part of the campout where we're supposed to, share deep thoughts. What's on your mind, bruz? Panda blinked, caught off guard. Deep thoughts? Right now? Yeah, Grizz said, nodding. It's tradition. Every campfire has a moment where people spill their secrets, talk about life, heart-to-heart stuff. Panda hesitated, chewing on the corner of his blanket. I don't know if I have any big secrets. Grizz shrugged, tossing another stick into the fire. Doesn't have to be a secret. Could be a wish, or something you've been thinking about. The flames flickered brighter, painting Panda's thoughtful face in orange light. He hugged his blanket a little tighter, then spoke softly. I guess I've always wanted to paint. Properly. Not just doodle on my tablet, something big on a canvas. Something that would actually last. Grizz blinked at him, surprised. Dude, that's awesome. Why haven't you done it? Panda shrugged, embarrassed. I don't know. Maybe I'm worried it won't look good enough. Ice Bear looked up from his perfectly toasted marshmallow, his voice calm but steady. Ice Bear thinks Panda's art already lasts, stays in hearts. Panda froze for a moment, then smiled sheepishly, cheeks warming more than the fire. Thanks, Ice Bear. Grizz clapped him on the back, almost knocking him into the fire. Bro, that's amazing! You have to do it. Paint, draw, sculpt, whatever. The world needs Panda masterpieces. Panda laughed nervously, but felt lighter somehow, as though the stars themselves were nudging him forward. The three of them grew quiet again, listening to the fire's steady rhythm. A breeze drifted through, carrying the faint smell of pine and ash. The forest felt alive but friendly, like it was listening in and approving of their little circle of warmth. Grizz leaned forward, elbows on his knees, eyes sparkling in the firelight. Okay, my turn. You know what I've always wanted? He paused for dramatic effect, making Panda and Ice Bear wait. A theme song, Panda blinked. A theme song? Yeah, Grizz said, throwing his paws in the air. Like every time I walk into a room, boom, music starts playing. Super heroic, super epic. Maybe with drums and, electric guitar. Panda groaned, covering his face with his blanket. That sounds exhausting. And kind of loud. Come on, it'd be amazing, Grizz insisted, standing up and striking a pose in front of the fire. Imagine this. I open a door, the music swells. Da, da, da. And everyone knows a legend has arrived. Ice Bear didn't even look up from his marshmallow. Ice Bear suggests triangle. Grizz froze. A triangle? Triangle, Solo, Ice Bear clarified, his face completely serious. Panda burst out laughing, nearly dropping his s'more. Grizz Bear, the hero of the triangle. Ding, ding, ding. Grizz groaned but couldn't help laughing too, collapsing back onto the log. Fine. Maybe not a triangle, but someday I'm getting that theme song. The laughter faded, replaced by the soft chorus of the forest again. Panda leaned back, watching sparks float upward into the stars. You know, this is actually kind of nice. We're not fighting for phone charges or arguing about what to eat. We're just here. Yeah, Grizz said, quieter now. It's like the world hit pause just for us. Ice Bear placed another marshmallow onto the plate and leaned slightly closer to the fire. Ice Bear approves of pause. The flames crackled, filling the silence that followed. Panda snuggled deeper into his blanket, the warmth soaking into his fur. He glanced at Grizz, who was staring at the fire like it held secrets, and then at Ice Bear, calm and steady as always. You guys ever think about how long we'll stay together? Like, what if someday we don't all live in the same cave anymore? Grizz sat up quickly, shaking his head. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Don't even say that. We're bros for life, Panda. No cave splitting, no solo spin-offs. We're a package deal. Panda smiled faintly, comforted but still thoughtful. Yeah, I hope so. Ice Bear promises. Always together. The simple certainty in his voice made Panda's chest feel warm. He didn't say anything more, but he hugged his blanket tighter, as though the words themselves could hold him. Grizz clapped his paws together suddenly, breaking the heavy mood. Okay, new campfire rule. No more sad what-ifs. Only happy vibes allowed. Panda chuckled. You and your rules. Hey, it's tradition, Grizz insisted, smirking. Every great campout needs at least 3 rules. Rule 1, always keep the fire going. Rule 2, marshmallows taste better when slightly burnt. Rule 3, only happy vibes. Ice Bear suggests Rule 4, Ice Bear said, pausing before adding, share snacks equally. Grizz groaned dramatically. Oh, fine. Rule 4, snack socialism. That made Panda giggle again, which made Grizz grin. Soon the 3 of them were eating in silence once more, their rules floating above them like invisible stars. The fire roared for a moment as a breeze swept through, making the shadows of the trees dance across the clearing. Panda found himself watching the way the flames flickered. How unpredictable they were, yet steady at the same time. It reminded him of his brothers in a way. Grizz caught him staring. What you thinking about, bro? Panda blinked. Nothing. Just that this is nice, like I don't need Wi-Fi or shows or city lights right now, just this. Grizz nodded slowly. Yeah, me too. Ice Bear raised his thermos in a quiet toast. To Hidden Campout. They all raised their marshmallows in response, clinking them together in the firelight before taking a bite. Sticky sugar glued their paws for a moment, and Panda laughed through a mouthful of chocolate. Grizz wiped his chin with the back of his paw, looking at the fire again. This is gonna be one of those nights, huh? The kind we don't forget. Panda nodded, the firelight flickering in his eyes. Yeah, one of those nights. The fire had mellowed into a softer, steady glow now, throwing just enough light to keep the darkness at bay. The clearing felt like its own little bubble, a circle of warmth carved out of the vast, endless forest. Beyond it, shadows stretched into the trees, mysterious but not menacing, just part of the night's quiet rhythm. Grizz reached into their snack bag and pulled out the last chocolate bar, breaking it into uneven chunks. Okay, bruz. Final round of s'mores. After this, we move on to official campfire songs. Panda's eyes widened. Songs? Grizz nodded proudly. Yep. Every campfire needs singing. It's like the #1 campout tradition. You can't argue with history. Panda groaned, tugging his blanket around himself like a cocoon. Grizz, you're not about to start yelling, are you? The forest doesn't need your singing voice. Correction, Grizz said, pointing dramatically with a half-melted marshmallow. The forest deserves my singing voice. Ice Bear quietly adjusted the firewood, sparks rising as the flames licked upward again. Ice Bear recommends earplugs. Grizz gasped. You too, Ice Bear? Traitor? Panda snorted into his blanket, shoulders shaking. I'll allow one song, but it has to be quiet, like lullaby-level quiet. Fine, fine, Grizz said, settling back onto the log. He cleared his throat with exaggerated drama and began humming a silly little tune. It wasn't loud, and it wasn't exactly in tune, but it was soft enough to blend with the crackling fire and the whispering wind. To Panda's surprise, it was actually kind of nice. He peeked over his blanket. "That's not terrible," Grizz beamed. "Not terrible? That's practically a standing ovation." Ice Bear chimed in with a low, steady hum, perfectly timed, giving the silly song a backbone it didn't know it needed. Panda blinked in surprise again, then almost shyly added a few notes of his own, mumbling under his breath. Before long, the three of them were humming together. No real melody, no fancy words, just soft sounds that melted into the night. It wasn't perfect, but it didn't need to be. It was theirs. When the last note faded, Panda found himself smiling without realizing it. "Okay, that was actually kind of beautiful." "Told you," Grizz said smugly, leaning back with his paws behind his head. "Campfire magic." For a while, they just listened. The forest had gone still, as though even the trees had paused to hear them. Somewhere far off, an owl hooted, low and steady, adding its own verse to their song. Panda hugged his blanket, letting the sound wash over him. "I feel like if we keep quiet enough, the whole forest might start singing too." Grizz's eyes lit up. "Whoa, bear choir, nature edition. That'd be epic." Ice Bear nodded once, serious as ever. "Ice Bear volunteers as conductor." They all laughed again, the sound tumbling out into the night like sparks from the fire. Grizz eventually leaned closer to the flames, staring into them with an uncharacteristically thoughtful expression. "You know, sometimes I think about all the places we've been. The city, the cave, even that time we tried to live in a food truck. But nights like this, I think this might be my favorite." Panda tilted his head. "Really?" "Yeah," Grizz said, his voice softer than usual. "Because it's simple. Just us. No chaos, no trying to prove anything. Just being here." Panda blinked, his chest warming. "That's actually really sweet, Grizz." Ice Bear poked at the fire, watching sparks drift upward. Ice Bear agrees. "Best adventure is no adventure." Grizz grinned, pointing at him. "Exactly. Sometimes the greatest adventure is just hanging out with the bros." Panda couldn't help smiling. He tucked the blanket under his chin and sighed happily. "You know what? I'm glad you dragged us out here." "See?" Grizz said, puffing up proudly. "Hidden Campout. Best idea ever. Trademark pending." The three of them chuckled quietly, their voices soft, as though the night itself was listening in. Above, the stars twinkled like distant campfires of their own, scattered across the sky. The fire crackled, the marshmallows dwindled, and time itself seemed to slow to a gentle crawl. The fire had burned down into glowing embers, but none of the bears seemed in a hurry to let the night end. The air had cooled just enough to feel refreshing, a crisp edge to the breeze that rustled through the treetops. Grizz stretched his arms wide with a dramatic yawn. "Man, this is the life. Stars above, fire below, and my bros beside me. What more could a bear want?" "Wi-Fi," Panda said immediately, though his tone was lazy and warm. "Panda!" Grizz groaned, flopping back onto the grass. "You gotta live in the moment, not the internet." Panda smirked into his blanket. "You say that, but I saw you checking your phone for campfire selfie lighting earlier." "Hey, that was research," Grizz shot back. "Historical documentation of our great adventure." Ice Bear stirred the embers with a stick, sparks flickering upward like tiny fireflies before vanishing into the dark. "Ice Bear thinks. Photos are fine. But memory lasts longer." That made Panda pause. He hugged his blanket tighter and glanced at his younger brother, who sat calmly watching the embers glow. Panda's expression softened. "That's actually kind of deep." "Of course it's deep," Grizz added quickly, refusing to be outshined. We're like, philosophers of the forest right now. Campfire wisdom. Trademark me. Panda rolled his eyes, but couldn't help a laugh. Sure. Professor Grizz, master of marshmallow metaphors. Grizz chuckled, rubbing his belly. Marshmallows. Wish we had more. Yeah, you ate most of them, Panda pointed out. Correction, Grizz said, holding up a paw. I shared most of them, with me. Ice Bear deadpan. Generosity is overwhelming. The brothers burst into laughter again, their voices carrying just far enough to bounce softly off the trees before fading back into the quiet. As the laughter settled, Panda lay down on his back, the blanket pulled up to his chin. His gaze drifted upward, tracing the bright scatter of stars. It's so clear tonight. I don't think I've ever seen this many before. Grizz rolled over onto his stomach to look too, his chin propped on his paws. Yeah, it's like the sky went all out just for us. Ice Bear tipped his head back, following the lighthouse beam sweeping across the horizon. Sky is showing off. They lay there for a while, just watching. The lighthouse's slow rhythm, the hush of the forest, the distant waves far beyond the trees, it all blended together, weaving the kind of calm that made words feel unnecessary. Still, Panda broke the silence in a softer voice. Do you guys ever feel small? Like looking at all this, the stars and everything. It makes me realize how tiny we are. Grizz turned his head toward him. Yeah, but that's kind of awesome, right? We're tiny, but we're together. And even in this huge universe, we found each other. That's what matters. Panda blinked, his heart squeezing in that quiet way it did when his brothers got unexpectedly sentimental. That's really nice, Grizz. Ice Bear simply nodded, his eyes reflecting the starlight. Small, but enough. The words hung in the air like another kind of fire, steady and warm. For a moment, the forest gave them silence as if agreeing. The owls had hushed, the wind had stilled, and all that remained was the steady beat of the lighthouse light and the glow of the campfire embers. Grizz sighed contentedly. Man, if this isn't perfect, I don't know what is. Panda curled deeper into his blanket, a little smile tugging at his lips. Yeah, it really is. And Ice Bear, though quiet as ever, leaned just slightly closer to his brothers, his presence speaking volumes without words. The campfire glow flickered one last time before sinking into a deeper red, like the heart of the night itself beating gently beneath the stars. The embers now glowed a soft, steady red. The flames reduced to whispers of light that flickered across the brothers' faces. The night had grown deeper, the forest around them settling into a hushed lullaby. Even the distant lighthouse had quieted, its beams sweeping lazily across the horizon as if it, too, were ready to rest. Grizz lay on his back, paws behind his head, staring at the stars. Man, nights like this are rare. You feel it, bros? The quiet, the warmth, the peace? Panda, still wrapped snugly in his blanket, nodded softly. Yeah, it's like the world paused just for us. No chaos, no alarms, no responsibilities, just, this. Ice Bear tilted his head toward the glowing embers, his voice calm and steady. Ice Bear agrees. Perfect. Grizz smiled faintly, his usual energy softened by the stillness around them. I think I could lie here forever, just watching the fire, watching the stars, listening to you guys breathe. Feels safe. Panda's eyes were half closed, tracing the faint trail of smoke drifting upward. Yeah, safe. And warm. The three of them remained quiet for a long stretch, letting the forest, the fire, and the night itself fill in the gaps that words usually took. Every now and then a spark would rise from the embers, drifting into the sky as if joining the stars above. It was mesmerizing, hypnotic even, and the kind of thing that made Panda's eyelids feel impossibly heavy. Grizz yawned loudly, but softly enough not to shatter the calm. I bet if we sleep here, we'll have dreams full of, I don't know, epic adventures, giant marshmallows, heroic bears saving forests, the usual. Panda chuckled quietly, tugging the blanket up to his chin. Yeah, the usual. Ice Bear quietly pulled his thermos closer and took a slow sip, his eyes reflecting the faint glow of the embers. Ice Bear protects dreams. Grizz gave him a playful nudge with his paw. Of course you do, bro. Always watching out for us. The fire crackled once, then seemed to settle, glowing with a comforting rhythm. Panda's breathing grew even and slow. He was almost asleep. Grizz lay back fully now, his chest rising and falling, the last of his marshmallow sugar giving way to drowsiness. Ice Bear watched them both, calm and vigilant, the embodiment of quiet strength. He reached over, adjusted the blanket around Panda's shoulders without a word, and then glanced at Grizz, making sure his brother was comfortable as well. For a while, the only sounds were the whisper of the breeze through the trees, the faint crackle of the dying fire, and the soft hum of distant nighttime creatures. It was a lullaby composed by the forest itself, gentle and endless, carrying the three bears toward sleep. Grizz murmured, half asleep, "Best campout ever." Panda let out a tiny snore, muffled by his blanket. Ice Bear, though awake, leaned back slightly, letting the night envelope him too. He whispered softly, almost like a promise, "Ice Bear always watches." The stars above shimmered like tiny guardians. The embers beneath glowed like the heart of the earth, and the brothers slept in perfect harmony, safe, warm, and cradled by the quiet magic of the hidden campout. And in the heart of the forest, under the watchful eyes of the night, the three bears dreamed of laughter, marshmallows, and endless adventures, knowing that together they could face any forest, any shadow, any night. The clearing held them gently, the fire's warmth lingering like a tender memory, and the hidden campout, secret, cozy, and infinitely precious, had already etched itself into the story of their lives. The fire had dimmed to glowing embers, painting the clearing in soft red and gold. The moon hung high above, casting a gentle silver light across the trees and making the shadows dance like quiet memories. The night had settled completely, wrapping the hidden campout in a blanket of calm that felt almost sacred. Grizz shifted slightly, stretching his paws and letting out a long, satisfied yawn. Moon's out. That's a sign of magical reflection time. Panda, half buried in his blanket, blinked sleepily. Magical reflection time? Yes, Grizz said, propping himself up on one elbow. You know, when bears sit quietly and think about stuff. Deep thoughts, life stuff, starlight, the meaning of marshmallows. Panda chuckled softly. You can't make every moment about marshmallows. Correction, Grizz said with a dramatic wag of his paw. Marshmallows are always part of the moment. Ice Bear, sitting perfectly straight as always, tilted his head toward the moonlight. Ice Bear observes reflection. No marshmallows necessary. Panda smiled, watching his brother. Of course you do, Ice Bear. The clearing was quiet now, except for the faint whispers of the forest. The rustling of leaves, the distant hoot of an owl, the gentle sigh of the breeze as it threaded through the trees. The world felt slowed down, stretched into long, soft moments. Grizz let his eyes wander up to the stars, then back at the moon. You know, sometimes I think the moon is like a giant night watchman, just hanging there, looking over everyone, making sure things don't get too crazy. Panda's lips curled into a small smile. I like that, Like it's keeping the forest safe. Kind of like Ice Bear does for us. Grizz laughed quietly. Exactly. Ice Bear and the moon. Secret guardians of the hidden campout. Ice Bear hummed in agreement, quiet and steady. Ice Bear approves of comparison. The three of them leaned back, letting their eyes wander between the glowing embers and the luminous moon above. The embers reflected in their eyes like tiny twin stars, and for a while, none of them spoke, content to just exist in the harmony of the night. Grizz broke the silence, whispering almost to himself. Do you guys ever think about all the things we've seen? Like all the forests, caves, cities? But somehow out here, it feels like the world's biggest secret is only ours. Panda nodded slowly. Yeah. Hidden from everyone else. Just us and the moon and the stars. Ice Bear tilted his head, his expression calm as always. Ice Bear likes secrets, quiet secrets. Grizz's smile softened, a rare stillness settling over him. This is exactly why I wanted the hidden campout. Not for adventure, not for marshmallows. Just moments like this, quiet, safe, perfect. Panda hugged his blanket tighter, the cool moonlight brushing across his fur. It really is perfect. Grizz reached over, tossing a tiny spark of ash from the fire into the air, watching it drift upward like a miniature star. Look, even fire knows how to be peaceful. Ice Bear leaned forward, poking a glowing ember with his stick, careful not to let it scatter. Fire behaves for us. The brothers laughed softly at the idea, the sound melding into the natural lullaby of the forest. Somewhere in the distance, the waves whispered, though they were far enough to remain gentle, their rhythm slow and steady, like the world itself breathing alongside them. Grizz sighed, resting his chin on his paws. I think I could stare at the moon and the fire forever. Forever and ever. No rush, no plans, just now. Panda's eyes fluttered as he fought off drowsiness. I think I could sleep right here, too. Like this. Safe, warm. With you guys. Ice Bear shifted closer to the embers, letting the warmth wash over him, his eyes steady on the moon. Ice Bear watches. Always. For a long while, the three of them sat or lay in silence, their thoughts meandering like the gentle path of moonlight across the forest floor. The hidden campout had grown quieter, calmer, wrapped in a silver and amber glow, and in that perfect stillness, every little worry, every little noise from the world outside seemed far, far away. The moonlight filtered through the trees, painting the clearing in soft silver and gold. Panda lay on his side, eyes half closed, his blanket snug around him. Grizz leaned back on his paws, staring at the gentle ripple of shadows across the ground. Ice Bear sat quietly beside them, a silent sentinel in the dim glow of the embers. Grizz broke the calm, his voice soft but animated. You ever think about all the things we've done together? Like every forest we've explored, every cave we've stumbled into, every ridiculous adventure we survived? Panda nodded slowly. Yeah. And somehow out here it feels simpler. Like we don't need all that crazy stuff to feel alive. Ice Bear tilted his head toward the faint moonbeam that had found its way into the clearing. Ice Bear agrees. Simple is enough. Grizz's grin softened, almost wistful. Exactly. Sometimes I think we forget that. In the city, in the cave, everywhere else, it's all rush, rush, rush. But here it's just us, the fire and the moon. That's adventure enough. Panda let out a soft sigh. It's nice, really nice. The breeze shifted, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and earth. Panda closed his eyes, letting the forest's subtle symphony wash over him. The whisper of leaves, the occasional hoot of an owl, the distant rustle of a small creature moving through the undergrowth. Grizz sat up slightly, brushing a stray piece of fur from his face. You know, I was thinking, nights like this, they kind of remind me that life doesn't always need to be loud or crazy. Sometimes the quiet moments are the ones that stick with you the most. Panda opened one eye, peeking at him. You sound philosophical. Are you okay, Grizz? Grizz laughed softly. Yeah, I'm fine. Just thinking, reflecting. Campfire reflection stuff. High-level bear stuff. Ice Bear tilted his head, glancing at Grizz. Ice Bear observes high-level bear thinking. That's right, Ice Bear, Grizz said, nudging him playfully. Even philosophers need bodyguards. Panda smiled, hugging his blanket tighter. The warmth of the fire, the cool brush of moonlight, and the gentle presence of his brothers made him feel unshakably safe. I like it here. More than I thought I would. Grizz beamed. See? Told you. Hidden campouts are the best. You don't get this calm in the city, or even in our cave. Only out here. Pure magic. Ice Bear shifted, poking at the embers with the stick. Sparks floated upward, twirling like tiny glowing dancers in the night. Magic, witnessed by Ice Bear. The three of them sat quietly, letting the fire's rhythm and the forest's soft murmurs fill the space between them. Panda's eyes drifted closed, the moonlight reflecting faintly on his fur, while Grizz's gaze lingered on the stars. Ice Bear's posture remained steadfast, protective and calm, the perfect counterbalance to Grizz's restless energy. Grizz broke the silence again, softer this time. Do you think one day when we're older we'll come back here? Maybe tell someone else about it? Or maybe keep it secret forever? Panda yawned, a small smile tugging at his lips. I think I'd like to keep it secret. Just ours. Forever. Ice Bear nodded slightly. Ice Bear agrees. Hidden forever. Grizz leaned back fully, stretching his paws over his head, his eyes reflecting both firelight and moonlight. Forever sounds good. But even if it changes, even if life gets messy, we'll always have nights like this. The hidden campout, our secret, our peace. Panda exhaled a contented sigh, his heart swelling with quiet happiness. Yeah, nights like this, they're everything. The three of them drifted into a comfortable silence again. The forest whispered, the embers glowed softly, and the moon watched over them, bathing everything in silver light. It was a gentle, slow kind of magic, the kind that made time feel endless, like the world had paused to let the bears simply be. Grizz muttered almost dreamily, I could stay like this forever. Fire, stars, bros. Perfect. Panda's breathing had already slowed, heavy with drowsiness. Ice Bear's gaze remained on the moon, steady and protective, and for a long moment nothing else existed. No worries, no plans, just three brothers, the quiet night, and the gentle silver glow of the moonlit forest. The embers had cooled into a gentle, warm glow, painting the clearing in muted gold. The forest was hushed now, almost reverent, as if it too were holding its breath to honor the quiet moments. Grizz rolled onto his side, chin resting on his paws, and let out a contented sigh. You know, nights like this make me think about everything we've done together. Every adventure, every silly mistake. It all led to this. Panda peeked from under his blanket, a soft smile on his face. Yeah. And somehow out here it feels like none of that matters, except that we're together. Ice Bear shifted slightly, adjusting the blanket draped over Panda. Together, strongest bond. Grizz smiled faintly, his usual energy softened by the calm. Exactly. I mean, we fight, we laugh, we mess up. But when it comes down to it, we always have each other. And that's what makes it all worth it. Panda nodded, hugging his blanket closer. I don't think I've ever felt this peaceful. Even in the cave or the city, it's never been like this. The moonlight shimmered across the clearing, turning the shadows of the trees into delicate, shifting patterns. A breeze stirred, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth, and with it, the soft rustle of leaves. Panda closed his eyes, letting it wash over him, while Grizz's gaze wandered upward, tracing constellations that sparkled faintly in the clear night sky. You ever notice, Grizz said softly, that the moon looks like it's smiling at us, and like it's happy we're here? Panda's lips curled into a gentle smile. I think it is. It feels like it's part of the campout, too. Ice Bear tilted his head, glancing at the gentle sweep of the lighthouse beam far off in the distance. Moon and light watch over campout. Grizz's expression softened further. Yeah, everything's watching over us. Even the fire, even the stars, even the breeze. Like the whole world saying, "It's okay, little bears. Rest easy." The three of them lay quietly for a moment, listening to the subtle symphony of the night. The faint hoot of an owl, the soft rustle of leaves, the occasional distant snap of a twig. It was the kind of stillness that filled your chest and let the weight of the day slide away. Grizz let out a small yawn, his voice hushed. I bet if we close our eyes now, the dreams will be perfect. Full of forests, hidden paths, silly adventures, and maybe giant marshmallows. Panda chuckled softly, blinking sleepily. Yeah, perfect dreams. Ice Bear adjusted the blanket around both of them and settled slightly closer to the embers, ensuring the warmth lingered. Ice Bear ensures comfort for dreams. The brothers drifted further into silence, broken only by the gentle crackle of the fire's last glowing embers and the occasional whisper of the breeze. It was the kind of night that wrapped around you like a familiar blanket, soft, safe, and unending. Grizz murmured, half asleep, I could stay here forever. Just the three of us, the moon, and the fire. Panda's breathing had slowed, evened out by drowsiness, and a faint snore escaped him. Ice Bear remained watchful, eyes steady on the moon above, his presence a quiet promise. Ice Bear watches. Always. The forest seemed to sigh along with them, the trees swaying gently in the night breeze, and for a long stretch, the clearing was suspended in the soft glow of moonlight and firelight, holding three bears in perfect harmony. Above, the stars twinkled faintly, each one a small witness to the hidden campout. The gentle sweep of the distant lighthouse reminded them of the wider world beyond, but it mattered little. Out here, wrapped in warmth, laughter, and quiet companionship, nothing else existed except the comfort of being together. Grizz whispered, barely audible, "Best night ever." And in that moment, under the watchful moon, with the forest cradling them in its embrace, the hidden campout became something timeless, a secret memory etched deep into the hearts of three brothers who had found perfect peace together. The moon hung high above, a silver sentinel watching over the forest, the clearing, and the three bears. Its light shimmered across the faintly glowing embers, casting long, soft shadows that stretched and swayed with the rhythm of the breeze. Grizz shifted slightly, brushing a stray leaf from his fur, and let out a contented sigh. "You know," he said softly, almost as if talking to the night itself, "sometimes I think about all the crazy stuff we've done, the adventures, the mix-ups, the chaos. And then nights like this happen, and I realize it's not the big stuff that matters the most. It's the quiet moments, the simple ones." Panda peeked from under his blanket, blinking sleepily. "You sound really deep right now." Grizz grinned faintly. "Don't worry, it's still me, just Philosopher mode activated. Campfire reflection. Moonlight edition. Ice Bear hummed quietly, the sound soft and steady. Ice Bear approves. Reflection mode. Panda adjusted his blanket, letting the warmth of the embers mingle with the cool brush of moonlight. I never realized how calming this is, just watching the night, the stars, the fire. It's like everything slows down. Grizz nodded slowly, letting his eyes drift to the sky. Exactly. And it's funny. We spend so much time running around, doing stuff, planning. But the best moments, they just sneak up on you when you're quiet. Ice Bear tilted his head toward the faint glow of the distant lighthouse. Even light waits quietly, then shines. Panda smiled softly, following Ice Bear's gaze. Yeah, it's like it's telling us everything's okay, like we're exactly where we're supposed to be. Grizz stretched his paws above his head, letting out a small yawn that sounded more content than tired. You know, this hidden campout thing, I think it's perfect. Not just for the adventure or the marshmallows, but for this, for quiet, for just being together. Panda nodded, resting his head back on his blanket. I like that, really. The embers popped gently, tiny sparks floating upward into the night, catching the silver of the moon for just a moment before vanishing. Grizz reached out to flick one more spark, watching it drift like a tiny firefly. Even the fire wants to join in the quiet reflection. Ice Bear adjusted the blanket so that both brothers were nestled comfortably. Ice Bear ensures comfort and peace. The three of them lay quietly, listening to the forest breathe around them. The rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the faint hum of insects. They blended into a natural lullaby that made Panda's eyes grow heavier by the minute. Grizz murmured softly, almost to himself, I think if we close our eyes now, our dreams will be just as perfect as tonight. Adventures in the forest, marshmallow mountains, maybe flying with the stars, all with my bros beside me. Panda's breathing slowed, his thoughts drifting lazily between sleep and the silver-lit world around him. Yeah, dreams like that sound amazing. Ice Bear, ever vigilant, settled his gaze on the moon, letting its soft light wash over the clearing. Ice Bear watches. Always. The night continued its slow, steady rhythm. The embers glowed faintly. The breeze whispered through the trees, and the moonlight draped over the bears like a soft, protective cloak. In the gentle stillness, nothing existed except the warmth of their bond, the quiet of the hidden campout, and the silver glow of the moon overhead. Grizz whispered, barely audible, "Best night ever." And with that, the forest seemed to hold them a little closer, wrapping the three brothers in a cocoon of comfort, calm, and quiet wonder, carrying them softly toward dreams filled with laughter, light, and moonlit adventures. The moon hung high and steady, its soft silver light spilling across the clearing and illuminating the brothers' faces. The embers had almost faded, leaving behind a gentle warmth that wrapped around them like a quiet, protective blanket. Grizz lay on his back, paws behind his head, staring up at the stars with a serene smile. "You know," he whispered, voice soft in the hush of the night, "there's something about nights like this. Like the whole world paused just for us. No noise, no rush, just quiet. And the stars and the fire and the moon, it's like everything's watching over us." Panda, snug in his blanket, blinked sleepily. It really does feel like that. Like the world's giving us a moment just to be. Ice Bear adjusted slightly, leaning a little closer to the faint glow of the embers. Ice Bear agrees. Moment perfect. Grizz let out a small, contented sigh. I think, If we close our eyes now, the dreams will be just as perfect as tonight. Adventures, laughter, forests, marshmallows, obviously. Panda chuckled softly. Yeah, I like that thought. The gentle rustle of leaves in the breeze became a soft lullaby, joined by the faint, distant hoot of an owl and the whisper of the night sky. Even the lighthouse in the distance seemed to slow its beam, moving lazily across the forest, keeping a quiet vigil over the hidden campout. Grizz murmured almost to himself, I could lie here forever. Just the three of us, the moon, the fire, perfect. Panda's breathing slowed further, each inhale and exhale steady and calm. The warmth of the embers and the soft glow of the moonlight seemed to seep into his very bones. Safe, warm, happy, he murmured in a sleepy voice. Ice Bear leaned back, his eyes on the stars, vigilant yet gentle. Ice Bear watches, always. The forest seemed to breathe with them, every sound soft and deliberate. The rustle of leaves, the faint hum of nocturnal life, the subtle sigh of the breeze. Time itself felt stretched, a slow and tender rhythm that let them linger in the quiet magic of the moment. Grizz's voice became even softer, barely more than a whisper. Best night, hidden campout, ever. The embers glowed one last time, sending a faint shower of sparks upward, mingling with the silver shimmer of the moonlight. For a long stretch, the clearing was silent, wrapped in a cocoon of warmth, comfort, and quiet wonder. Above, the stars twinkled like tiny guardians, witnesses to the secret night shared by three brothers. The moon cast its soft light over the clearing, the fire's warmth lingering even as the last embers dimmed, and the hidden campout became more than a place. It became a memory etched deep into their hearts. Grizz yawned, settling fully onto his side. Night, perfect, forever. Panda let out a gentle snore, his blanket pulled tightly around him. Ice Bear, steady and unwavering, leaned just slightly closer, ensuring his brothers were comfortable and safe. Ice Bear guards dreams. The clearing held them gently, the forest embracing their quiet slumber. The hidden campout, secret, magical, and infinitely precious, had fulfilled its promise. Three brothers, together in the stillness, under the watchful moon and stars, drifted fully into dreams filled with laughter, marshmallows, and the soft, silver glow of a night they would never forget. And in that perfect silence, the world outside seemed to pause, letting the bears rest, knowing that for one night, everything was as it should be, safe, warm, together. The moonlight shimmered across their fur. The last sparks from the embers floated upward like tiny fireflies, and the forest whispered its lullaby, carrying the hidden campout into memory, into magic, and into dreams. The night had softened into the kind of calm that made even the forest feel like it was holding its breath. The embers of the campfire had faded into gentle warmth, leaving the clearing bathed in silver moonlight and the faint glow of early stars. The breeze was light and comforting, rustling the leaves like a lullaby as it whispered through the treetops. Grizz stirred slightly, stretching his paws with a contented sigh. Nothing beats a night like this, quiet, warm, with my bros right here. Panda, curled in his blanket, let out a small, sleepy murmur. Yeah, feels perfect. Ice Bear, ever calm, shifted his gaze between the faint embers and the moon above, ensuring both brothers were snug and comfortable. Ice Bear, guard, sleep. Grizz's eyes drifted closed for a moment, a soft smile tugging at his face. You know, we've had so many adventures. Cities, caves, forests, crazy stuff everywhere. But this hidden campout, It's special, quiet, simple. Just us. Perfect. Panda's breathing grew slower, heavier, each inhale soft and steady. Safe. Warm. Happy, he murmured, the words fading into a gentle sigh. The forest held them in silence, each sound amplified by the stillness. The soft rustle of leaves, the distant call of an owl, the gentle sway of branches in the breeze. The moonlight streamed across the clearing, casting long, soft shadows that danced faintly across the sleeping bears. Grizz shifted slightly, letting his chin rest on Panda's shoulder for just a moment. We'll always have nights like this, huh? No chaos, no rushing, just peace. Panda gave a small, sleepy nod. Yeah, always. Ice Bear leaned closer, adjusting the blanket around both of them with a quiet, protective precision. Ice Bear ensures warmth and comfort. The air smelled faintly of pine and earth, rich with the calm of the forest and the lingering glow of the fire. The clearing felt like a cradle, the three bears suspended in the gentle rhythm of night. Each star above seemed to twinkle with quiet approval, and the moon watched over them like a sentinel of silver light. Grizz let out a long, soft yawn, murmuring, "Best night, best hidden campout, ever." Panda's eyelids drooped further, his breathing steady and slow. Ice Bear's gaze softened as he watched his brothers settle deeper into the warmth of the blankets, the fading embers, and the embrace of the forest. Grizz whispered softly, almost in a dream, "Safe, bruz. Ice Bear, me, Panda. We're safe." The forest seemed to sigh along with them, the gentle rustle of leaves a lullaby that carried the three brothers closer to sleep. Every small sound, the distant waves beyond the forest, the faint call of night birds, the soft sway of branches, melded into a soothing rhythm, perfectly in sync with their breathing. The clearing was a world unto itself, a secret cocoon of warmth, quiet, and magic. The hidden campout had done exactly what it promised, cradled the three bears in comfort, offering a night free from worry, chaos, and noise, just the simple joy of being together. Grizz murmured again, his voice barely audible. "Sleep tight, bruz. Ice Bear. Always watching." Panda's soft snore punctuated the night, and the moonlight touched their fur like a tender caress. Ice Bear remained alert, steady, and serene, the silent guardian of this perfect night. For a long moment, the forest and the sky seemed to join in the peace. The hidden campout had become a memory etched into their hearts, the warmth of the fire, the glow of the moon, the gentle rhythm of night, and the presence of brothers who would always be together. Grizz let his eyes close fully now, breathing, slowing as sleep crept in. Best night ever. And as the clearing faded into darkness, the whispers of the forest and the soft shimmer of the stars carried the three bears into dreams, leaving the hidden campout bathed in magic, warmth, and quiet contentment. The night continued its gentle rhythm, every sound soft and comforting. The forest seemed to breathe alongside the bears, each leaf and branch moving with a tender grace that made the clearing feel like a secret haven. The last embers of the fire sent up tiny sparks that floated briefly into the air before fading, mingling with the soft silver light of the moon above. Grizz shifted slightly, settling more comfortably beside Panda. "You know, I think nights like this are like little gifts, hidden, quiet, just for us. No distractions, no chaos, just calm." Panda mumbled softly from beneath his blanket, eyes half closed. "Yeah, calm, safe, cozy." Ice Bear adjusted his posture, ensuring both brothers remained snug under the warmth of the blanket and the lingering heat from the fading fire. Ice Bear ensures protection. Always. Grizz smiled faintly, almost dreamy. "You know, it's funny. We go on all these wild adventures, face all kinds of dangers. But sometimes the best adventure isn't about excitement or bravery. It's about finding peace like this. Quiet moments. Simple magic. Panda's eyelids drooped further as he listened. Magic. Like this night? Exactly, Grizz whispered, letting out a soft sigh. Hidden campout magic. Just the three of us. The moon, the stars, the forest, and this perfect calm feeling. Ice Bear remained still, gazing at the faint glimmer of stars above. Ice Bear agrees. Magic. Quiet. Everlasting. The clearing was wrapped in stillness. Only the soft rustle of leaves and the distant calls of nocturnal creatures punctuating the night. Each sound felt like part of a lullaby, a gentle song composed by the forest itself to soothe the bears into sleep. Grizz yawned quietly, resting his head on Panda's shoulder for just a moment. I'll keep watch while you sleep. Promise. Panda let out a soft, sleepy laugh. I know. I can feel it. You always do. Ice Bear's gaze remained fixed on the moon, calm and steady. Ice Bear watches too, protects dreams. The trio sank deeper into the warmth of the blankets, the fading heat of the fire and the serene glow of the moonlight. Their breaths fell into a slow, peaceful rhythm, perfectly in sync with the quiet of the forest around them. Grizz murmured softly, voice almost swallowed by the night. Safe, warm, together. Panda let out a soft snore, his blanket tucked snugly around him, drifting fully into sleep. Ice Bear, ever vigilant, shifted slightly closer to ensure the comfort of both brothers, his presence calm and reassuring. Ice Bear ensures safety, always. The forest seemed to lean in around them, the gentle swaying of the trees harmonizing with the quiet crackle of the last embers, the soft rustle of the breeze, and the faint murmur of distant wildlife. Every sound, every shadow, every flicker of moonlight was a soft caress, a protective embrace holding the hidden campout together. Grizz's voice grew softer still, almost a whisper. Best night, hidden campout, ever. The stars above twinkled faintly, as if witnessing the serene slumber of the bears below. The moon cast its gentle glow across the clearing, highlighting the peaceful curves of the blankets and the soft fur of the sleeping brothers. The magic of the night lingered, a gentle hush that seemed to stretch endlessly, cradling the bears in warmth, comfort, and quiet contentment. The hidden campout had fulfilled its promise, a night free from chaos, full of calm, and wrapped in the silent love of three brothers. Grizz closed his eyes fully, Panda's breathing even and slow beside him, and Ice Bear's vigilant presence a steady anchor. And in that quiet clearing, under the watchful moon and stars, the three bears drifted deeper into dreams, surrounded by the magic of a perfect, cozy night. The clearing had grown quieter still. The embers had nearly disappeared, leaving just a faint warmth that mingled with the cool night air. The moon hung high above, bathing everything in silver light, and the stars twinkled softly, scattered across the sky like tiny beacons of calm. Grizz shifted slightly, resting his head on a paw and letting out a gentle sigh. Man, it's so peaceful. I could stay like this forever. Just us, the fire, the forest, and the stars. Panda snuggled deeper into his blanket, eyes half closed. Forever. Sounds perfect. Ice Bear, ever watchful, adjusted his posture to ensure both brothers remained comfortable. Ice Bear always guard sleep forever too. Grizz's eyes traced the patterns of shadows cast by the trees in the moonlight, letting them dance across his vision as he spoke softly. You know, the hidden campout isn't just a place, it's a feeling. The quiet, the warmth, the togetherness. It's like the forest itself is hugging us. Panda let out a soft, sleepy laugh. Forest hugs. I like that. The wind carried the faint scent of pine and earth, mingling with the lingering warmth of the fire. The gentle rustle of leaves and the distant murmur of the night created a natural lullaby, soothing the bears deeper into rest. Grizz murmured almost to himself, I think the world pauses out here. No chaos, no rushing, just this calm, this perfect moment. We're small, but it feels huge. Feels like we're part of everything. Panda's breathing slowed further, soft and rhythmic. Part of everything. I like that too. Ice Bear tilted his head toward the moon, his gaze steady and serene. Ice Bear agrees. Part of everything. Safe. Protected. The three brothers lay quietly, letting the forest, the fire's warmth, and the silver glow of the moon surround them completely. Time itself seemed to stretch, each moment lingering just long enough to imprint into memory. Grizz's voice softened, a gentle whisper in the hush of the night. Safe, bros. Ice Bear. Me. Panda. Always safe. Panda's soft snore punctuated the night, blending perfectly with the subtle lullaby of the forest. Ice Bear remained watchful, his presence calm and protective. Ice Bear ensures comfort, always. The clearing felt suspended in tranquility. The stars above shone like tiny guardians, the moon cast its protective glow, and the forest cradled the bears in a quiet embrace. Every shadow, every flicker of light, every gentle breeze seemed to whisper reassurance. All was well, and the night would hold them in peace. Grizz murmured again, barely audible. Best night. Hidden Campout. Ever. The gentle rhythm of the forest, the faint warmth of the fading embers, and the silver light of the moon carried the three bears deeper into slumber. Their breaths fell in unison, slow and even, perfectly matched with the hush of the night around them. And in that secret clearing, under the watchful stars and the calming moon, the hidden campout became more than a place, became a memory, a treasure, a quiet magic that the three brothers would carry with them forever. The night held them gently. The forest whispered its lullaby, and the hidden campout cradled them in warmth, love, and perfect cozy peace. The night air was still and soothing, carrying with it the soft scent of pine and earth that clung to the forest floor. The moonlight draped across the clearing, casting a silver sheen over the bears and the fading glow of the fire. Grizz shifted slightly, letting out a long, contented sigh, his chest rising and falling in the gentle rhythm of the night. You ever think, Grizz murmured quietly, that nights like this, maybe they're the real adventures, not chasing treasure or exploring caves, but moments like this, quiet, safe, warm, together. Panda, snug in his blanket, blinked sleepily. Yeah. Quiet adventures. Ice Bear adjusted slightly, ensuring both brothers were covered and comfortable, the faint glow of the moon reflecting in his calm, steady eyes. Ice Bear agrees. Quiet adventures. Strongest memories. Grizz smiled softly, letting his gaze wander to the stars above. It's weird, isn't it? We do so much, and yet it's the small stuff that sticks. Sitting by a dying fire, wrapped in blankets, staring at the moon. I'll remember this forever. Panda let out a soft, sleepy laugh. I already do. The breeze moved through the trees gently, rustling the leaves with a delicate rhythm. The faint hum of the forest, the rustle of nocturnal creatures, the distant whisper of a flowing stream, the occasional call of an owl, blended seamlessly with the steady, even breathing of the bears. It was a lullaby written by the forest itself, a song of peace and warmth. Grizz murmured, his voice barely audible. I think I could stay like this forever. No rush, no chaos. Just us, the forest, the moon, the stars. Perfect. Panda's eyes drifted closed, a soft smile tugging at his lips. Perfect. Ice Bear leaned just slightly closer, ensuring the warmth of the blankets and the subtle heat of the embers reached both of them. Ice Bear guards comfort, always. The clearing was wrapped in the serene embrace of night. Every shadow, every flicker of silver light, every soft whisper of the wind seemed to reinforce the quiet magic that surrounded them. The Hidden Campout was no longer just a secret location. It had become a sacred space, a haven where three brothers could exist without worry, chaos, or distraction. Grizz let out a soft sigh, resting his head lightly against Panda's shoulder. Safe, warm, together, close forever. Panda's breathing slowed further, soft and even, the gentle rise and fall of his chest, syncing perfectly with the hush of the forest. Ice Bear's calm gaze swept the clearing, taking in the sleeping forms of his brothers and the soft glow of the remaining embers. Ice Bear ensures safety. Forever. The moonlight shimmered on their fur, the fire's warmth lingering faintly, and the forest whispered a gentle lullaby. It was a night that would stay etched in memory, a quiet, secret treasure of warmth, peace, and companionship. Grizz murmured again, barely above a whisper. Best hidden campout ever. And in that suspended moment, the three brothers were enveloped in the magic of the night. The silver glow of the moon, the gentle rustle of the forest, the soft warmth of the fire, and the quiet certainty of being together. Every sense was calmed, every worry forgotten, and every heartbeat perfectly in rhythm with the serene pulse of the forest. The Hidden Campout held them tenderly, a sanctuary that existed for them alone, carrying them toward the final deep and restful sleep that would mark the end of their magical night under the stars. The night had softened completely, leaving only the gentle glow of the moon and the faint warmth of the dying embers. The forest was still, wrapped in a hush that seemed to hold every leaf, branch, and creature in quiet reverence. The three bears lay nestled together, blanketed in warmth and calm, their breathing slow and steady, perfectly in sync with the serene rhythm of the night. Grizz shifted just slightly, careful not to disturb Panda, and whispered softly, Sleep tight, bruz. Ice Bear's here, always watching. Panda let out a tiny murmur in his sleep, a smile tugging at his lips as he snuggled deeper into the blankets. Safe, warm. Ice Bear leaned closer, his calm presence a silent guardian over both of them. Ice Bear protects dreams forever. The breeze moved gently through the clearing, rustling the leaves like a lullaby only the forest could sing. The moonlight shimmered across the bear's fur, soft silver brushing over every curve and line, and the faint twinkle of distant stars cast tiny points of light that danced quietly in their sleepy vision. Grizz's voice, soft and hushed, broke the silence. I'll keep watch, too, just in case. Nothing's gonna bother us. Not tonight. Panda murmured a soft, contented sigh, letting sleep carry him further into dreams. Ice Bear's gaze remained steady, the perfect anchor in the stillness, every movement measured and deliberate to ensure his brother's comfort. The forest seemed to sigh along with them, the gentle rustle of leaves, the faint crackle of fading embers, and the distant call of nocturnal creatures blending into a soft symphony of calm. Every sound, every shadow, every subtle flicker of light was a tender embrace, holding the Hidden Campout in a cocoon of safety and peace. Grizz whispered again, his voice drifting almost like a dream. Best night, Hidden Campout, ever. Panda's breathing slowed completely, soft and rhythmic, the warmth of the blankets and the gentle touch of his brothers surrounding him like a cocoon. Ice Bear adjusted slightly, ensuring the perfect balance of comfort, warmth, and quiet protection. Above, the stars twinkled faintly, each one a witness to the serene slumber of the three brothers. The moon's silver glow washed over the clearing, wrapping them in light as soft as a gentle hug. Even the fading fire seemed to linger, sending up the last glowing sparks like tiny fireflies, joining the stars in guarding the night. Grizz let his eyes close fully now, a small smile on his face, voice fading into the hush of the forest. Safe, warm, together, always. Ice Bear, vigilant yet calm, whispered in his low, steady voice. Ice Bear watches. Always. Guard sleep. The night held them gently. The forest whispered its lullaby, and the hidden campout cradled them in warmth, love, and quiet contentment. Every worry, every noise, every rush of the outside world had been left behind. Only peace remained. In the silver light of the moon and under the twinkling stars, Grizz, Panda, and Ice Bear drifted fully into dreams. Dreams of laughter, adventures, and marshmallows, but most of all, dreams of each other and the quiet magic of a perfect night. And as the first hint of dawn crept softly on the horizon, the hidden campout remained untouched, a secret sanctuary of warmth, calm, and the gentle love of three brothers who had shared a night they would carry forever in their hearts. The forest breathed around them. The breeze whispered one final lullaby, and the hidden campout, wrapped in moonlight and memory, became a timeless treasure, a place of quiet wonder where peace, warmth, and togetherness reigned supreme. And with that, the three brothers slept, fully and completely under the watchful gaze of the stars and the moon, safe, happy, and together until the morning sun would gently rise. And that's our hidden campout with Grizz, Panda, and Ice Bear. I hope you felt the warmth, the peace, and the magic of this quiet night in the forest. Sweet dreams, and remember, sometimes the best adventures are the quiet ones. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us next time for more cozy bedtime stories on the sleep hours. Good night, everyone.